Guys, welcome back to the Insider Outsider podcast. It's your host Rav. This is your other host Amada. And today, guys, one thing I hope you guys are aware of. Pretty much, we're going a little bit earlier in the pod today, earlier in the day. Obviously, I don't think our Twitch stream is gonna get 100,000 different view difference, whether we do it in the morning or night. But soon it will. So, guys, starting off, today is going to be really finance focused because there's a lot of news happening. So Ahmed, one of the most intelligent people that I truly do know, has been telling me about this thing. And that's not that big. It's a little bit of a small event, not a crazy big event yet, but one day it might be a bigger event. The World Economic Forum. Not really a huge event, but before I knew what the World Economic Forum was, I'm gonna tell you guys, all right, back in like 2022, 2023, all right, there's one man who told me about this, and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And that was Ahmed. So remember, guys, this year I think it's very beautiful for people to bring out, oh, I've been watching this, all this stuff. Like even, like tariffs. I'm wondering before 2023, how many people knew what tariffs were? I'm thinking a fraction of the amount of people that know now. And so what I'm just trying to say is, Ahmed has been watching the World Economic Forum for years and years and years. And this year, is probably going to be a lot more busier or more impactful this year, since there's a lot of economic change happening in the world. But Ahmed who has been researching this in these various topics for many, many years now, has a really good insight into this. And so, Ahmed, I wanted to get your take on it. So we saw a lot of things happen so far. We saw pretty much the European Union leader or the financial minister. We saw their report and obviously their speech. Then we saw a very controversial, or I'm saying the word wrong, of Mark Carney, pretty much calling out Donald Trump of the USA, not by name, but kind of going into that flow. Then we saw Trump go back. We also saw, I'm not sure if you've seen the headline so far, apparently there is now a deal to acquire Greenland. Now, nobody knows what this deal entails. However, apparently NATO and Trump have caught into a truce. So Trump has stopped his retaliation, pretty much his tariffs against the European Union and Greenland in general. And so we're going to see exactly how it turns out. There's a lot of people who are saying a lot of things are about to happen, but we're going to see exactly. So firstly, Ahmed, how was, did you get a chance to check out Mr. Mark Carney's post?
Yeah, he basically gave an analogy that the current global order is going to become like the late Soviet era for everyone. And then he said middle power coalition. He said that Canada, EU, Japan are going to stop comparing themselves to the U.S. and China
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to build a trade and security. So he's talking about what's currently going down within geopolitics.
Mm-hmm.
And what's currently the point of interest is Greenland's. Donald Trump is wanting to invade Greenland and occupy it. And from what I like about the World Economic Forum is a lot of these influential banks and institutions come and meet and to talk about the future, where the future is heading. And obviously, sometimes they don't align. They don't all align into one, mutually agreed upon interest. And you see that with Carney and Trump. And from what I've seen, Trump basically gave a warning to the European Union, and he's like, Greenland's mine. He's asserting his dominance. And Carney here is also trying to suggest that we're separating from comparing ourselves to Canada and USA and China.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're building different partnerships. They're kind of building their own independence. That's what he's expressing. But what I really like to do is I like to acquire information from reputable sources, and I like people like Ray Dalio and Rav. I'm pretty sure you share this because Rav told me to reignite the fire, an interest in one of the most influential people within writing audiobooks about financial literacy and so on. Let me see. I have the audio. I literally was listening to it a second ago. I'll tell you exactly which book I'm listening to.
He's lying, all right? He doesn't remember. I'm joking. No. How many he want to lie?
Tony Robbins,
Uh-huh.
Money Master,
Have
Money
you
Master the Game,
uh,
seven simple steps to financial freedom,
and
and he quotes Dalio.
and
Yeah,
yeah, Ray Dalio, because a lot of people may not know
Dalio.
something about Tony Robbins, and so Tony Robbins is he credits himself because he's able to connect to the most influential people in every single sector. So when he gets his financial advice, you know how you guys on Twitch are getting your financial advice from your boys Rav and Ahmed, but he is getting his advice from Warren Buffett, from Ray Dalio. These are the people that Tony Robinson is getting his advice from. And so when you're directly reading this, you're directly reading the people that he admires the most in this field. And so this just goes to a point of contract that by reading this book you get a lot of influence out of it. Ahmed, after this, like I don't know if you've read that or not, but I believe you started The Holy Grail of Investing. That's the next Tony Robinson book. Really recommended. I think in my opinion it's the best. But yeah, and Ahmed is definitely right. It definitely, from Mark Carney's speech, it definitely looks like he's trying to empower all of the countries that may not be the biggest in total GDP, but to unite together because together they're stronger. And there is a case for it, right? Like EU, for example, the European Union. How powerful are they on an individual country level? Not very powerful. They're very small comparative. But as a EU, they're the biggest collective right now of GDP. If you're thinking about like an axe collective mass, because they're bigger than the USA if they're all combined together. And so that's where their firepower comes from, right? So Canada's in a very particular point because, one side we have the USA, on our other side we have Alaska, which is connected right to us. And now if Greenland is acquired or, territory is given to the USA, that's going to be putting Canada right in the middle, right? So I think Canada right now
Yes.
is
So yeah, and
exactly.
on his social media page, he basically Donald Trump posted that Canada would be the USA had like a
It
flag,
had
but
it had a picture of the USA conquered all these territories, like sitting around all the
yeah.
leaders. Yeah, and so
Mhm.
it's a very interesting position, right? So, is this probably going to reignite him trying to now take over Canada again in terms of just trying to build influence? Possibly, and more likely than not, it will. I had a very in-depth conversation with one of my friends. He is very on the favorable terms of Mark Carney, so he likes Mark Carney. And I'm not too sure if you remember, but when Paul Pierre, pretty much when he lost his elections, he's the Conservative Party leader. Donald Trump said it's easier to deal with the liberals, and so I wonder if he's walking back those exact words now, right? So because there was a direct impact that Donald Trump did have a direct role in getting Mark Carney elected rather than Pierre Poilievre. Now, obviously, Mark Carney, as I mentioned many times in this podcast, whether he does the right thing or wrong thing now, we will not find out right now. We're only going to find out 5 years from now once we see how everything plays out, and then we can
Yeah.
see the good and the bad. He's doing great. Do I think this was the time to call out Trump? I don't think so. Now it's very very impressive, right? Like having that level of confidence is very fantastic, and it goes to show maybe that his confidence in the trade deals that he has selected so far and he's gotten. The problem that I see is, the biggest trading relationship is the one right to our south, which is obviously Donald Trump's USA, and the idea that I'm trying to play out because remember I actually pretty much figured out the China deal, which I got very fortunate about. But
Mhm.
in that exact same deal, the problem is if we don't yet have those trading relationships in place, like for example, if we just start a trading relationship but we don't actually see how this goes, if it's economically viable for both countries, we yet do not actually have a strategy to fight Trump. And so, Trump obviously was not a fan of it. He usually is rarely a fan when he's getting called out, right? But have I seen in the past where he's fighting somebody and then he just switches sides very quickly? I do think I have seen it, right? So I'm not putting the crazy amount of impact on this right now. He is focused on Greenland, but one thing that I do see as being a direct outcome of what Mark Carney just did is the Alberta separation. So there is an independent movement right now in Alberta that's trying to get Alberta to become its own country or more
Yeah.
likely become a part of the USA. And so
Mhm.
Donald Trump will definitely be trying to flood the gates of hell over here because he's definitely going to be trying to slowly acquire, right? If he can't have all of Canada, he may as well have Alberta, because of course we all know he's an energy president. He likes energy, and so yeah, there's a lot of variations. We're gonna see exactly how this plays out. We still have time before our elections here in Alberta, and we have to see if that a vote can even or this. The vote can even account towards putting that on the ballot, right? So there's a lot of different plays being played out. But now, Ahmed, I wanted to ask you, because now this is pure speculation on me and yours part, all right? But this is where the fun begins. Ahmed, what do you think this trade deal is with America and Greenland? What do you think it is? Do you want me to go first?
Between
Yeah.
sorry, who
So,
and who and what?
not trade agreement. This, so like I mentioned, Donald Trump has directly made now. Apparently, he has said that there is an agreement for them to acquire Greenland, but it doesn't say how. So we don't know if that means they're going to own Greenland, they're going to manage Greenland, they're going to get like one portion of Greenland. We have no idea what this deal accrues to because it was only last night. So
Mhm.
thinking to this, I'll give you my opinion. So what I think most likely happened in this case and point scenario
Mhm.
is they probably said we're gonna buy military equipment only from the USA, or we're gonna do this only from the USA. We're gonna let all your big companies come in and utilize the USA, or sorry, utilize Greenland. So you
Mhm.
have free access into Greenland, but you cannot take over Greenland. And what I think this will do is now, Donald Trump is definitely gonna like the fact that, hey, all these companies of the USA are coming in. That means we're getting richer. We got the mineral rights now. We got all this. We got this. And so they get the direct benefits and they don't have to manage it. So is that cost effective for the USA? Yes, it is, because again, now you don't have to pay out all of these random people over there in Greenland, and you no longer have to manage these people who are not citizens of Canada, of the USA. And so that's what I think has happened. And again, I would not be surprised if that has happened, right? But that's what my theory is at the moment, and I would like to know your theory, whether you agree with me, disagree. What do you think?
Yeah. Um, I don't think we necessarily disagree. I think you definitely made some really good points. And the thing is, I struggle to discern between when like the president works within the interest of Wall Street or the public, and
I'm
even
very
with
happy you brought that point up. I'll let you finish and then I'll continue at the why I really like that point.
so I've seen some independent journalists of high standard efficacy, like really good journalism. Um, what I'm suggesting here is there isn't as much bias in this information that I've digested and I'm gonna express here, and it seems to be what I see kind of in my logic is that Donald Trump is working for people within the power hierarchy of Silicon Valley and so on. And Greenland is not only a win from an economic standpoint, like you're suggesting, where there could be trade and resources, but within the blueprints and plans, um, they're trying to build these freedom cities. And the first expression of this, the freedom city is a word to obscure reality. They're trying to circumnavigate the public's perception of narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And the first example of this was, I think, in Honduras, where they attempted to create a place where there was zero taxes for institutions so that they could circumnavigate, capital issues and so on. They wanted to create a place where the government says less and institutions say more. And Greenland is one of they're trying to create an outpost in Greenland. And not only that, they there's blueprints on this, and you go find them online. And there's a lot of money being spent into the architecture, developing the architecture here. But if they were to, if Wall Street were to gain Greenland,
Mm-hmm.
and they really want to do this, they'd be able to execute on their plans that they've been planning since 2016 in Honduras. They first failed in creating basically a piece of land or a jurisdiction where the government has less say and there's more economic abundance. And three judges were dismissed and replaced, through you know um, political what's it called, like corruption. They got
Mm-hmm.
another
Okay.
three judges in this, from what I heard in the
In the
report,
USA is what you're saying.
and this is Honduras.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Honduras. Okay.
They approved of a basically a jurisdiction where uh, the government has no say, and basically you pay less taxes, and these Silicon Valley like oligarchs or whatever you want to call them have more power. And simultaneously, from a perception of geopolitics, U.S. wants to take Greenland for resource reasons, but I think that there are other narratives at play where really big and influential people want to increase their power dynamic when it comes to their relation with the government, and they want to create an outpost. I should probably leave citations of where I found this, but I think I'm more aligned with the perception that this is more of um, a separation between the U.S. best interest and Silicon Valley's best interest, or yeah, the tech oligarchs.
Mm-hmm. So I really like the fact that you're bringing up the stock market, because a lot of people do speculate right now that the reason why when Trump went on board and he said we're not going to use force is a direct impact because the stock market had a very very bad day the day prior. But if you guys check the stock market right now, let's just pull it up real quick. So S&P 500. All right, guys, are you guys ready? And I'm gonna tell you something crazy because, buddy, me and you are on top of it. All right. So S&P 500 is now up 4.07 for the day. Last 5 days it's still down, which means for year to date it's barely up 1% now. Obviously, this was a lot higher prior to this 1 day big drop down, which was almost a percent and a half drawdown from what has happened. But guys, remember how we told you the start of this year that with uncertainty, there's one thing to be certain about, and that the USA is going to spend money on military or minerals. Just like how now, as you said, you don't disagree with me that Greenland probably will be used for refining minerals and also to be able to,
Okay.
for military aspect. Arcat, guys, check out mine and Ahmed's videos in the past 2 weeks, past 3 weeks, past 4 weeks, past 5 weeks. We have been saying that we are buying a company called Arcat. Ahmed, you must be a very wealthy man right now, okay? Because
Very happy with
if
what
you
you're doing,
if you look
definitely.
at the year to date, today Arcat is up 12%, guys. And if you bought Arcat at the beginning of this year, how we were saying it, you're up 92%.
Well, it says 101%, which is
For
awesome.
for
So
for a
as
whole
of
year,
as
for a
of
whole
right now,
year, but a whole one
we're
year. But
climbing.
if
We're
you go,
still climbing as we
yeah,
right now. It's
yeah,
still
yeah.
climbing.
But
Yeah.
if you go year to date, that means start of January, January 2026 to now, we're up 100% right now. We just crossed 100% for the day. So that's incredible. Now, guys, this was not
Oh, I
done.
see. Year to date. Yeah, year to
Yeah,
date. I
yeah.
see.
Yeah, I would. This was not done from. What I'm trying to say, guys, is this was not done because of speculation. Neither of our insider traders, none of us, unfortunately, work at Arcat. But we used basis of logic to figure out that, hey, the best case
It,
scenario probably is going to be some sort of military intervention where they're trying to increase the size of their military, power of their military,
it
so it
really was
deters.
Rav's idea, though.
Yeah,
It really was Rav's idea,
but
and I listened to the value proposition. He basically explained it in the simplest way we could put it: is a tiny drone can blow up $1 billion ship,
uh-huh.
and that's the ROI on that from just like logical
Yeah.
perception
And guys,
is that
this
this
is
thing's
why, yeah, this is why
in value.
you need someone like
The
Ahmed
stock.
too, though, right? Because this pick was picked by me. However, when I brought it to Ahmed and I gave my reasoning, Ahmed's conviction in this sped us into it, and you can hear that from any of our previous episodes. The conviction that Ahmed and me both have towards their stock. Because remember,
Yeah,
there's so many stocks out there. You can choose anything, but we are just looking for what the best value is. We understand that, hey, Donald Trump keeps trying to make threats, and the only way you back up threats is with military dominance. And so RCAT, as an essential part of that, is going up. So guys, this is what I'm trying to say to you. There is ways to play the game to benefit you guys, even no matter what type of society it is. So right now, if I have to give my next predictions, the USA, the Canadian military is also not. Nobody thinks that USA is going to conquer Canada. That's it. It's not. But people are worried about it. And so, what happens when people are worried about it? People are going to put excess more money into military. They're going to put more money into this, that, this, and so one of our other big picks that has not reflected as much as Arcad yet, which is TAC, which is it's pretty much just a company that TAC stock, sorry, that is just it's Transatlantic Corporation, and so this one's up 2%. It's not a good buy right now because it's never a good buy when we're saying it, but we're buying it. We think it's a good buy right now. But right now in Alberta and in Canada, they're trying to now separate away from the US, and they're trying to, have all their natural resources, their lumber, their oil overseas. So we're just thinking, hey, if we're trying to increase the exports that we're doing overseas, and there's a lot of companies, a lot of countries that need a lot of oil, we know we're trying to invest into infrastructure. And so that's the
from,
theory.
from the book. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
From the book I'm reading right now,
Uh-huh.
the Tony Robbins book, the Money Master the Game.
Mm-hmm.
He says that leaders within the financial context, they don't like to follow. They want to lead. They want to get into something prior to it actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're getting in now, you're getting in at what the followers do. You're not
Mm-hmm.
really, you know what I mean? And we told you very early on when the price was low. So what you want to do is find opportunity like
Five
Rav,
dollars, by the
identify.
way, $5. It was $5.
You create communities where you actually work within your best interest, not sit there and play games and stuff like that. You're gonna only that when conversations about gaming compound, they lead to nothing. But conversations like these, like the Insider Outsider podcast, they compound into they actually form things that will work within your best interest.
Mm-hmm.
There's incremental change. If you've watched the channel, Rav has hit the target right on China. He's hit the target on Arcat, and right now Rav has something in right on the iron sight. and it is the oil and gas deal that he's speculating might be something within the
Mm.
deal. If Canada creates a situation within Alberta where a database is put in place, one company, Rav, we need you to tell us the company will benefit. It's an energy company.
TAC, same thing exactly. So Ahmed brings up another point here. Like the only two situations I can see going forward is these two situations. Either we make a deal with the USA where we sell them even more oil because they want even more energy, or we sell our
Mm.
oil abroad. And guess what? To do that, you need more pipelines. You're gonna need more pipelines somewhere else. And so, guys, I'm not trying to figure out what's the good idea. I'm just trying to figure out logically
What's
that they're
likely? What's
exactly,
likely? Yeah.
exactly, and logically. And now Ahmed brings up the data center idea, guys. Canada has a problem. Okay, they're always late to the party. And the thing with that is though is you can see kind of how the party is the rest of the world. So USA is right now building the most more data centers in the world. We have consistently seen the biggest problem in the USA is utility prices are going incredibly high. Like in Canada, we saw utility prices increase, and we have not had a crazy amount of data infrastructure.
Cost of energy.
Yeah, cost of
Cost
energy.
of energy.
Exactly. Because remember, guys, you cannot power data centers on love and affection. Ahmed, I love you, you're
Mm.
beautiful. But you can't power a data center with your beauty, bro. You have to have
Thank
some
you,
sort
brother.
of energy source. And so nobody's understanding that Canada has very little data centers. And so do you not think that data centers are eventually going to come to Canada where it's a colder environment? So, processing is a lot easier because cooling is a lot easier? Of course it is. So we have to think logically. There's land, there's everything. It's bigger than the USA in terms of land. So why would you not?
Colder.
Yeah, exactly. So it's only a matter of time until data centers come. The only idea that this is going to equal a bad opportunity is if you think data centers are going to become obsolete. And I'll tell you one thing: there is nobody that I'm hearing that says we are building too much data center capacity. The one issue that could arise is AI doesn't like this AI bubble does not amount to much, so the data processing will not be needed. But then I have a theory for you there. If you're willing to look at this over a long term play, do you not think that we're going to have robotics? I think robotics is right around the corner. Maybe not advanced humanoid robotics, but robotics are consistently becoming better and better and better. There's so many companies working on it. So,
Rav and Elon Musk have suggested the same thing. Elon Musk, when he went to the World Economic Forum, as far as I saw a video, he said
mhm.
that every human will have a robot.
Yeah, 1 to 2.
And
He said not just one. He said there's going to be probably 2 or 3 to one human. And guys, understand what does this mean? This means round prices are 100% going to go up. This also means that of course data centers are going to have to go up. You have to process this data. How do you think right now we're using computer compute, and we're using this much data centers? Ahmed, here's a question for you. Do you think any company wants to be known as the company that, because of their lack of data, caused a human to die because a robot fell on their human or a robot actually killed the human? Of course not.
no,
Which means
yeah,
how much regulation and how much data these companies are going to need to have. Just think about Waymo for a quick second, or Tesla. Right now, their self-driving vehicles take up so much data because they have to do so much simulations. So even if
I know what you're saying, but there's a counter argument as well.
mm-hmm.
But you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
Monsanto?
Monsanto. Could you?
I'll let you finish, and then
Okay,
I'll
sure,
I'll
sure,
tell you
sure.
what I.
So yeah, so let's just say, for example, the data centers are not needed for this AI bubble. Once robotics gets in the picture, they will need the same sort of AI. They'll need the same sort of data centers to train their data so that they can understand, they can have this footage and understand how to more and more improve. So there is no way that I see that energy is substantially going to get cheaper. And I also mentioned, if let's just say world destruction happens and no robotics happen, guess what? Energy will be cheaper, and cheap energy is always a good fuel for a great booming economy. That's just my theory on energy.
What I was going to talk about was there is this sort of higher resilience when it comes to circumnavigating law, when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to really, really powerful institutions. An example of this is Monsanto, and this has been reported on. Monsanto has been able to make this, the weed whacker, not the weed whacker, the anti-weed spray.
Oh
It kills
yes,
the
you're
weeds.
talking
And
about the
yeah,
company that sprayed.
Monsanto.
Yeah, they had that special
Yes, yes,
chemical, and they kept spraying it, and then they forced all the farmers to get on their chemical, and then the chemicals that it could be cancer causing. They hid you're talking about that company, right? Yes, yes,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I know of this company. Yes.
And not only that, these if they're willing to spend money these companies to work within their best interest
Mm-hmm.
to even clean up the negative complications of business, they
Mm-hmm.
will. And what I think is, if in the scenario that someone dies because of a robot, they're going to have uh lawyer military output
Yeah,
to
yeah.
lawyer up. And
Well,
but
we.
but what I really think is going to happen is they're going to be very
What was
careful.
that? That was
The,
loud.
the unique scenario that we're presented is not Monsanto, because Monsanto existed in the information age. This is the AI age.
Hmm.
AI age is we're way better at calculating probability.
Of course, but
And
the
a lot
whole
of these
thing is
Chinese
simulations, right?
robotics,
Yeah, all these
a lot of these
simulations.
Chinese robotics companies are simulating the stuff
Hmm.
way before they touch the
Way
market.
before, way
So
before.
the dangers that we're assuming are they're present, but they're going to be very easily circumnavigated because these people are good with wealth, and not only that, they have the smartest people within their
Ahmed,
like
beautiful, beautiful wording. You're very true. Monsanto did become crazy, like they're huge company, huge corporation, and
they
literally,
kill people, but
yeah,
they literally murder
they did.
people.
And then remember, another thing is if like the problem was if your crops did not have this special chemical where it was able to now it's seeds. I think they sold special seeds that were
They
resistant to this and
patent-
this.
they use patent laws. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Now the next farmer's seeds go over there. Guess what? Some get transferred over. If these guys find out that hey, our seeds are here, the farm gets sued. They lose everything. And so these guys were they're straight down like malicious. But now, one thing we want to, yeah, I couldn't remember how the story ends because they still say to this day that that they are denying that there's any cancer association. Well, the cancer, I believe the cancer, because the last time
Yes,
I heard of this was like a year ago.
yes,
The task force
yeah.
says yes, but they've yet to prove otherwise. So again, this is speculation, right? But it's very easy to see that hey, people died, very suspicious. This is suspicious, and also you should not be giving one company this much control
Really quick
over
question. What
yeah.
do you think? Sorry, continue the same.
So no, sorry,
You're
continue. I want to hear what you say.
So, sorry to cut you off, but there was a newspaper that came out during the when the wiring for the electrical system was going down in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and the newspaper showed this guy coiled up in a bunch of wires and dying because he's like getting electrocuted.
Oh, damn,
And
well,
so,
not the laugh about, but goddamn.
what I'm trying to ask you here is, do you think that analogy is playing out today? The analogy of the perception of the public prior to innovation being rolled out is, oh my God, there's gonna be so much negative complications, but when in reality, this is gonna be a very, very smartly rolled out technology that's
I
gonna
think
revolutionize
I think there are going to be
the way we
mistakes, 100%. But like, I have to ask you a question. I think one of
people
the
did that.
hardest
Yeah.
thing to yeah, I think one of the hardest things right now to ever have rolled out would be self-driving cars
Oh, it's
because
gonna be tough. Yeah.
yeah, but
I was
self-driving
seeing
cars are
BYD. They're just in a parking lot going.
yes,
BYD is
and
pretty good.
and Waymo is literally honking at each like there's a bunch of them all in like a circle honking at each other and
That's
people are
one of
completely
those
can't
guys.
sleep, right? And so clearly there's problems, right? Like we saw the police stand off with Waymo. They accidentally went to like an active crime scene, right? Because the thing,
Waymo, to
yeah,
me, the name is like a cute name, and a standoff with the police is just not.
yeah,
It
because
doesn't.
you have to remember, guys, these like they can only simulate what they know. So like nobody is thinking like it's very hard to picture yourself be like, all right, what do we do if we meet a standoff right here? And the Waymo doesn't know what to do because it's not trained on this data. This is what the issue is of no AGI, because these bots are only trained on what they know, not what they don't know. And so there was another story actually, funny enough, where they had a Waymo, or it was some sort of self-driving car. I don't think it was a Waymo, but I think it was a Chinese one. And so the Chinese model was not trained on pretty much airplanes, because why the hell
Yeah,
would a car be trained on airplanes? And
stop flying.
bro, so it's the car was in an airport and it went over and it hit a plane. It wasn't smart enough to avoid a plane. Like the plane was stationed.
That's
It's a
so
private jet.
wrong.
Yeah.
That's just so wrong.
Yeah. And so you're thinking, you're like, I'm so confused because in their programming, it just probably should say, don't avoid anything that's coming in your direction. But it couldn't figure out
Yeah.
what the hell a plane was, so it went at it. And all I'm just trying to say is this: as smart as these things are, there's always mistakes to be made. During like the
Yes.
blackout that happened in California, the Waymos went down. Tesla had their own services, so Tesla's services were still running, but a lot of services were disrupted. And so, but these are all problems that once they happen, now that there'll be an implementation to make sure that
I
problem
want
doesn't
to.
happen.
I want to see your opinion here.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I watched this video right now. It shows Russia, and there's a bunch of snow, and
Where it covers the building.
also the snow is going to reach America, as far
Yes.
as I've seen in the news,
Uh-huh.
and they're saying that's going to be 3 inches of ice
Mm-hmm.
on the floor, like 3 inches. And if that happens, there's a high likelihood
Uh-huh.
of the grid going down
Uh-huh.
within those areas.
Uh-huh.
Like, what do you think is going to happen? And like, it's relatively
Yeah.
new in the
Well,
news.
snow is always a problem, especially when it comes to batteries and snow.
But
So
what I want you to address is the energy sector within America.
Well,
Donald Trump has
I,
expressed
yeah.
that's it's shit. And do you think AI is going to help it, or do you think AI is gonna
Well, right now it's for a long time
strain it?
it's going to strain it a lot, a lot. It's
Yes.
already is right. Like right
Yeah.
now they're trying to make active laws where you can't put a data center, right, very close to a community because man, if
It
the community
destroys them.
prices just
Yeah.
go up
Yeah.
like crazy, right? And you gotta imagine,
Mhm.
right? If like what is
Yeah.
it? They say to power like some of these data centers, it's 100,000 to 1 million homes, right? Like, it's insane amount of compute that these companies need, which is why Donald
Mhm.
Trump is so active on getting the energy, right? Which is why I'm saying that there's still a very big possibility that we can solve this just with the energy trade deal. But
So
here's
back to the Alberta separatist.
yeah, but I'm
No,
gonna I'm
it
gonna
goes,
bring up one thing on it because there's
we
one
have
thing I don't
a
want to
bunch
forget.
of oil.
Hmm.
We have a bunch of oil, but it's stuck in oil sands,
Yeah,
and it needs like to be heated
yeah,
and pumped through with hydrocarbon,
yeah.
and
So
it requires refining. What do you think will happen within the context of if Alberta becomes part of, because Alberta has a lot of this oil sand, like a
hmm
lot of the oil of Canada is in Alberta,
hmm
northern Alberta. If this were to happen, we would no longer get the oil refined in America and sold back to us. We would
hmm
just be, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Would
yeah.
it make sense? Would it make sense from an economic standpoint to accept
th-
this offer
and
that Donald Trump?
that's the exact thing that the separatist movement is kind of placing their bets on, right? Because they're just trying
Yeah,
to because here's the truth, guys. We talk about Venezuela's oil capacity, and we talk about why it's not as good as it can be, and the
good
reason
topic.
why
Yeah,
is
yeah.
because there was not a lot of infrastructure building on it, right? Alberta has very similar to the thing. Now, obviously,
Why
we've
why is Venezuela oil not as lucrative as like Saudi oil?
so it's heavy oil, and so heavy oil is better for other stuff such as like diesel and stuff like that. And Alberta has the same oil, very similar to Venezuela oil. And so with Saudi oil, it's very light. It's a different type of oil, so you can use it for different types of gases, gasolines, all that kind of stuff, right? And
It
a
was
lot,
$17 trillion worth
yeah,
of
it's a
oil
lot
in
of it. It's a
Venezuela.
lot. Yeah, it's
That's
a
why the
lot.
stock market reacted when
Yeah.
he invaded. Yeah,
And so one thing people that I guys want to understand is now let's get out of the energy trade for a second and let's think about a different thing. And this is what I wanted to speak about. I wanted to speak about what the future ideas are, such as RCAT, because RCAT has one fantastic, right? If you guys sell now, make money. If you guys are willing to ride on it for a little bit longer, again, your call. We don't give you any financial advice. We just tell you, hey, we're fucking investing. That's it. But okay, guys. So you know how right now RAM prices are going crazy. Everybody's bringing up RAM. Have you heard about this, Ahmed?
what RAM? Yeah,
RAM,
RAM.
yeah. So
Yeah,
why did RAM go up? It was
yeah.
just the next logical step.
Databases,
Yeah,
databases.
exactly. So
Yes.
first it was AI companies, then people realized, oh, these AI companies need compute, energy and data centers, right? Or data centers. Then they're like, oh, wait a second, these data centers need energy, so it goes into energy. The money flies into energy. Then they're like, oh, wait, data centers, energy, whole chips, everything, all, and so chips are getting plugged in that. And what's the next logical step? They need more RAM to do all this computing, right? So
Yes.
some
Yes.
companies have just become commercial companies where they're selling these RAMs. And I was having a
Interesting.
conversation with my
Yeah.
friend yesterday
Okay.
because now it doesn't make sense to sell to the collective because you can make so much more money just selling directly to computer to computer. This is directly why I'm a big investor in Google. Because Alphabet guys makes their own chips at home. They're not reliant on anyone else to build their chips like Nvidia or TMSC, right? TSMC. They're just trying to build their own
Speak
stuff.
about top-down integrated
Yeah, yeah.
companies, please. That is exactly what we
Ahmed,
want to
I
have.
actually want you to mention it because I think your explanation on a top-down integrated company is a lot better than mine.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So just so we stay on the path that Rab is taking us, because I
Mm-hmm.
really like the topic you're bringing up. Google, the reason he's advocating for Google, and the reason and there's a further magnification of bringing up top-down integrated companies, is that there's less loss of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Energy can be measured in monetary or in, when you're talking about complex systems, you just simplify it to energy. But if there's no middleman taking money from you when you process the chip like TSMC and over in Taiwan, you get to harbor most of the profits. And if you harbor most of the profits, you could then recirculate them within your existing economy, within your existing system, within your existing company to bolster the real intrinsic value.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get an increase in the stock goes up.
Because you pay less, you do less, you have the ability to create it. Like that's those companies. Like Samsung's one of those companies as well. The reason why Samsung
Yeah.
does so well is because they literally build everything. They built the Burj Khalifa as well, guys. A lot of people don't know this. They get
Samsung.
yeah, bro, it's crazy. But now, guys, let me tell you something crazy that I wanna ask Ahmed. Let's try to figure out what's gonna go
You're
next.
advocating. This is okay. I need to give you guys pre context. Rav is about to drop bars. And the reason I think he is because
Uh-huh.
I see the way he processes the stock
Hmm.
market, the way that when you listen to this, you're getting top of the line time money value information.
Oh, buddy.
Um,
I'm happy
one
to
of my
hear those
one of
words.
my favorite guys, one of my favorite, and I'm stating facts. I'm not trying to obscure reality or give you a fake value proposition. It is what it is. James Parsons, the Jim Parsons or James Parsons,
Jim
what's his
Simmons.
name? Jim Simmons.
Yeah.
God damn.
Don't worry,
He got
Ahmed is always
66%.
trying to learn new stuff. He can't
I'm
remember
human.
deals.
I'm human. I'm going to give you my best, but this guy got 66% every year after year, until he broke the stock market. But the
Yeah.
one feature that we could use as an analogy to express what Rav falls under or into is the thing that he figured out was there's a flowchart of capital. Capital flows from one sector to the other, and you need to front run the masses. And so, if AI is going up, Rav is going to tell you buy Oklo. Why would you buy Oklo? Because within the flowchart of things, Oklo, and the returns on Oklo were amazing, by the way. Like a
Thank you, thank you.
10x return, 20x,
Yeah.
20x. Sorry,
It was almost a
a
20x for me,
whole.
yeah. I didn't get the full
And so,
20x, but yeah, you got there.
you guys should listen. It's close enough, 19.5. That's a great return. That's ridiculous return. Um, and so, what he's thinking right now is he's creating a thesis, which I'm going to listen to very carefully, about what the flowchart's going to result in.
All right,
He's
guys.
what where do you think capital is about to flow
All
into?
right. I think this is something I thought of yesterday. So literally this is fresh off my mind. I wanted to get Ahmed's full opinion on this reaction on live. So Ahmed, I think the next step, regardless of however AI goes, whether AI becomes kind of a bust now because we're not able to reach true AGI with this platform,
Yes,
or
yes.
yeah, or we realize that this stuff isn't as useful as it's going to be right now. Here's what's
Hmm.
going to happen. The companies are going to start working on robotics and they're going to implement AI into robotics. So this is still going to make chips and RAM go up higher and higher. But remember, they're already very, very expensive. So then I was thinking, okay, when robotics comes into play the next 5 to 10 years, who are going to be the biggest manufacturers? And I realized something.
And these
I
functions are still going to make money.
Yeah, I
There's going to be
realized
higher
I
companies,
realized there's
right?
one company. There's a, no or
Where?
one sector that's going to make a lot of money.
Where?
Connectivity. Ahmed,
Connect.
nobody is going to be allowed to use their robots without full cognitive connectability because they need to make sure nobody dies because that's going to kill the company. So whether it's robots, remember how Elon Musk said 2 to 3 robots per person. Ahmed, can I ask you a question? Right now we have one cell phone, yeah, so one laptop maybe, a PC. So we have all these connectivities. So each person has more than one. But these are not highly connective devices. These are connected devices in that they have long ranges, they have to use satellites. But what
Are you talking
happens?
about internet, Wi-Fi,
Yeah, exactly.
that kind of
What
stuff?
happens now when you have to
5G?
3 times to 5 times to 10 times the amount of connectivity for all these people so that people can use AI and robotics effectively?
So,
It
what
com-
would you rate the United States level of connectivity versus the Canada's level of connectivity, and which companies within Canada are
Mhm.
going to be able to like basically bring the internet up, like four G to
Here's
5G or
here's the
whatever?
two companies. So
Rogers,
yeah,
Shaw, are those the companies that you're looking at?
all those companies, but I'm looking at satellite companies. So SpaceX is one,
SpaceX.
but one other one. So SpaceX, you have to remember, SpaceX is the only company right now that has the ability to do everything for their robotic fleet. So if they create a huge robotic fleet, they have the connectivity, but even their connectivity is not as powerful yet to be able to do this because they work really good in rural areas. But if everybody has 2 to 3 robots, they have to massively keep importing the amount of Starlinks in space, or
If you're not
you're going,
subscribed right now, I don't know what the.
huh?
Yeah, go ahead. If you're not subscribed right now, I don't
Yeah.
know what's going through.
And so right now I'm looking at all these other companies that are in Canada and the USA who are going to mass effect. So any company that's in the wireless service right now, utility service for wireless, is going to have to ramp up their systems insanely because the amount of stuff that's going to be entered on the grid is going to be incredible. As soon as miniature robots come, can
How
you
long
imagine?
timeline?
Yeah, timeline is this probably is going to be a longer timeline. I'm guessing about 5 to 10 years because we have to see the
2035,
first. Yeah, because you
2035
you
ish,
first
middle
have to
ground,
see the robots coming into play, and then you're gonna
10 years.
see exactly, and then everyone's gonna
10.
be asking, "Yo, why is data so bad right now?" Well, it's because all the robots are the ones controlling all the data right now. All of them are flowing into robots, and they're not flowing into your phone, and so they're gonna have to massively keep increasing the amount of satellite towers, all these
This
infrastructures.
is SpaceX connected to two pathways of revenue conversion or value proposition
Hmm.
increase. So there's the database in space,
Hmm.
and there's connectivity.
Hmm.
That would be quite interesting. It would make it would make sense that you could increase the value proposition of what you're investing in based off of the databases in space that
Yeah,
Elon's trying to
because
make.
Ahmed,
Because
remember, there's
local compute up there is
yeah,
cheaper.
a satellite doesn't release unlimited Wi-Fi, unlimited data. It only has a certain amount, and so if you add in 3 to 5 to 10x the amount of devices that are on this,
Bandwidth,
what happens to your
stuff like
home?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ahmed, this is the example I like to give. Ahmed, what happens if there's 20 different devices connected to your Wi-Fi?
shittier Wi-Fi.
Share your Wi-Fi, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
You
Everything,
can't take risks with those robots.
yeah, exactly. And
You can't take
remember,
those kind of
you
risks.
can't, you physically can't. But even if you could, will the company let you? Does the company want you to make the
Do you
robot?
think, question, I have to ask this because I don't want to interject and ruin the conversation, but
Mhm.
do you think that the cars, automatic driving cars, will pave the way for the connectivity issue for
Yes,
robotics?
yes, I do think so. Yes, right now, electric cars, like these drivable, self-driving cars, are only in a few cities. And remember what happened in California? As soon as the outage happened, none of them worked. So they have to already invest into different infrastructure. And Google, I'll tell you this: Google does have Wi-Fi. So the Google has a Wi-Fi subsidiary, and so Tesla does as well. The only reason why Tesla worked was because Tesla has infrastructure like Starlink that it connects to, right? So that's why it was working. But there is no possible way that every car company will have their own services
Satellite,
that they'll be able to
satellite.
use. Exactly.
Give us
And
the companies.
yeah,
SpaceX is one.
SpaceX is one.
Google's another.
Yeah,
Google's another.
Google's another. But this is where mostly you're going to be looking at utility plays. So what companies like AT&T are going to be available that have the most amount of Wi-Fi and data that they give out will be able to benefit.
Who is currently ready to meet the demand,
None of them. I
right?
don't think any of them. That's the
And,
thing.
and who is trying to develop into that within emerging economies like Canada in comparison to America? But
America.
uh, there's something that I've heard as of recently, and I've been constantly
I
thinking
know
about.
exactly what you're
Is
about to bring up, buddy.
the West is kind of broke because when you're talking about stock prices evaluations, you want to look at liquidity and where it's going. They're broke in only one context. Average consumer is broke. The mortgage, the average Canadian has credit card debt. Average Canadian has this is what I've seen from the statistics, bureau or whatever. But do you think that because guess who is the number one saver in the world right now?
Who?
Like who has the most money per se? China.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. This stuff is just conflicting, and I'm just bringing it up to see what Rav thinks of this. But I definitely see this playing out. They're just going to have to find liquidity will always be on the bleeding edge of technology. And if you want to make some of that money, you're going to have to listen to the Insider Outsider podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But
So like this is what I'm talking about. So I'm looking. I just searched it right
yeah,
now. This is the first thing I did was what are the biggest network providers in the world? All right. We start with China Mobile, which is the biggest. So China Mobile is the biggest. The second one, you're looking at stuff like T-Mobile, US, Verizon, AT&T. They're the largest globally, right? And so the question that you have is, how are these companies ready to integrate 10 to 15 times the amount? Are they ready? And I don't think they are. So what I'm going to be looking for in the next little while is which companies are ready to meet the demand for data. And also remember, Ahmed, this is something that nobody else is thinking about. You cannot just use regular servers. This is what people are not understanding because people can hack servers. Does anybody want their robot on the news if somebody has hacked the robot and is butchering
yeah,
people or smashing
yeah.
shit? No, they don't. And so they will not risk that. So they need dedicated servers, dedicated security
I want
for
to tell you
these.
what I understand, and maybe you could like clarify your opinion on this because it's interesting. Cybersecurity is going to be huge
Huge, huge. There's
because
no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
AI is not only disruptive in the context of productivity, but in the context of destruction as well. There's a equal and opposite playing out here. But what I've noticed is NVIDIA has kind of integrated into, you could call it a crypto, but it's really not a crypto. It's called Hedera Hashgraph.
Mm-hmm.
And
HDR.
from what I understand, is crypto requires encryption, and encryption can be broken with AI quantum computing. So encryption is a way to keep your within crypto your seed phrase or your wallet secure. And AI is going to disrupt the crypto industry, and there's going to be a huge wave of not only Web 2.0, Web 3.0 is crypto. Web 2.0 is like your Gmail, your bank accounts, anything on the internet. So there's going to be a bunch of disruption because of AI.
Mm-hmm. And like as you
One
mentioned,
of the things I've seen is NVIDIA's chips are now pivoting to be they've created rails within the chips compute, so it's binary, so that it could bridge into Hedera Hashgraph.
Mm-hmm.
Hedera Hashgraph, from what I understand, is labeled as a crypto. I don't see it as crypto, but it is like some sort of, let's say, blockchain. It's Hashgraph tech. Hashgraph is not blockchain, but essentially it has an ability to be immune to AI decrypting it.
I'll
And
tell you this.
so
And so
I see that. Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if if the H thing is going to work out exactly, but Ahmed makes a very good point
yeah.
here where new security measures will have to take place
They're
because the
required.
existing ones don't work, right? So whether that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
through crypto, that is like, look at that. Who else is telling you that the integration of crypto is actually going to be utilized for security? No one else, guys. Ahmed, that's a fucking fantastic point right there. And guys, I hate to swear, but man, like that's how amazing we feel. So
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
got to understand is the online security and these data centers and these now network service providers will not be able to use their regular satellites for all of these, because if one gets hacked and you're telling me 5 million robots can now be affected with the virus, remember what happens to computers when viruses happen? Your computer stops working, it steals all your data, it does this. What happens when a robot gets hacked, Ahmed? Oh,
Satellite systems.
yeah.
So military warfare. Imagine a robot
Hmm.
with the connectivity issues and logic that Rav has brought up.
Hmm.
The satellite gets invaded.
Hmm.
These robots turn rogue and kill everyone.
Hey,
But that's a
but
horrible idea.
I know. But
But what
Ahmed, even
happens?
remember, but even that idea is gonna make so many laws. Like, I have an idea. Imagine farming equipment. Eventually, there'll be a position where farming equipment is now controlled by Wi-Fi. So you have an electric whole farmer. You see how big this equipment is. All right. Do you want to have the chance that this equipment now goes rogue and just runs over a house because it will destroy the entire house?
Oh, and
Exactly.
horrible. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, guys, what's gonna happen, like I mentioned to you, is they're gonna have to create dedicated security servers. They're gonna have to create dedicated security towers, dedicated satellites for
You
these.
know what's interesting?
Mm-hmm.
W- When you look at the blueprints of these supposed freedom cities, and Donald Trump has been saying there's going to be 10 freedom cities in America. And he said that the promise is that it's going to allow the younger generation within America to have access to housing. What these smart cities are designed, if you look within design, Elon Musk is a central figure within these smart cities. So smart cities can be used interchangeably with freedom cities. What Rav is saying, and what I'm seeing through the blueprints, is that they're trying to work on, and this is where Silicon Valley's liquidity is pushing. They're trying to work on the connectivity issues, and the evidence of this that I could bring forth and further, magnify what he's saying, is that within the blueprints of these smart cities are the problems that Rav is focusing on, and the problems are seemingly going to be solved by SpaceX. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
Because
they're one
SpaceX has
company.
all the databases within the blueprint. It's called Elon's Energy
Yeah.
Factory. If you go look at the blueprint,
I'm gonna tell you a couple of things, all right? See right now, see, like, guys, this is what you guys need to do in order to have creative conversations on how to invest. You guys need to bet on the future. This is exactly what we're doing. We're not looking at what somebody's doing now. We're thinking about what's the problem in 2 to 5 years from now, because that
this
problem
will
has
play out.
not been
This
solved
will
yet,
play out.
and whoever solves that is
Yeah.
gonna go X crazy. So all these companies, Cloudflare, CloudStrike, they're big companies. They're worth a couple hundred billion, right? But none of these companies are worth trillions. There is one security company worth trillions, and that's Google's own security. Google also is a security company that they offer crazy amounts of support. Microsoft does as well.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
this is,
Cloudflare?
yeah,
You said two companies.
yeah.
You need to clarify. We need to give them all the tickers at the end of the video, and make sure to subscribe because this is a value packed
Again, we're
video
not
here.
telling you what to invest in, but Cloudflare, NET, and then CloudStrike,
Non-financial advice. Yes, yeah.
which is CRWD, are all companies that just focus on cybersecurity, right? And like Google, if you
Yeah.
guys don't know, also is a big cybersecurity company. They have, like, we talked about
What's the
top-down
market
integration,
capitalization?
exactly, and Microsoft does as well, right? They focus on their own security. They have all their stuff, and
What's the size of your trillions? You said no.
no,
I
so
missed it.
these
Google's.
companies are 50 to 100 billion. Google is trillions. Microsoft is trillion, right? So the thing
Yeah.
is, guys, you have to understand is security is going to become the utmost important thing. So right now, what we're going to do after this pod is me and Amna are going to look into which companies for security are the most likely to benefit. And obviously, we have a lot of money already in Google and Microsoft. So you're already kind of in this space in the S&P 100. However, these companies are up in the last 5 years 100%. Some of them are 200%, like Cloudflare is up 200%, right? Now,
Yeah.
here's the issue. This is the big problem with this: is if any of these companies get hacked, Their stock price is going down like crazy, right? It's all on the basis of them not being hackable. Do you remember? I think it was. I don't want to say the name because I obviously don't want to get it wrong. But there was a company. They were the ones creating the Dragon Force chips, I believe, for Google, and they pretty much just wrote on Twitter or
Stop
whatever it
it.
was. Yeah, they're
Stop
like,
talking.
yeah, they said we can't be hacked. Try it, and then somebody hacked them.
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Yeah, this happened. I think it was last year. If I remember, I remember exactly where I was when I heard this. I was laughing so hard. I was like, "Why would you just?
That's such a
Why?
horrible.
Yeah, why would you just try to get tell? Why would you tell
Short to
somebody that?
stop.
Right?
Short to stop.
Overconfidence. Exactly. And what you're betting on when you're betting on these companies is that you're betting that none of them are going to get hacked and their security is really as good as they say they are, right? And I'll tell you one thing about working in big companies: there's a lot of pinpoints where people can hack, where people can do it, right? So cybersecurity, man, is going to be the utmost important. So the two things we're going to be investing in for the future, me and Ahmed, all right, guys? I'm not talking about now. We're talking about looking in the future. Security for all this, and I'm going to be solely looking for the companies that are trying to mention, hey, we're going to
I'm
create
not,
the security for robotics, and then I also,
I'm
yeah, and then the
not saying.
second, yeah,
I
and
have to say it.
you
I'm
have
so
what?
sorry. I gotta say this.
Okay,
I
say.
gotta. So on my feed is tailored to me, and I like innovation. I like to keep up with the news. And I saw Elon Musk training young, highly intelligent, like really intelligent people on how to be cybersecurity. He's
Experts,
literally hiring. He's hiring right now people within cybersecurity.
yeah.
So Rav is literally within the same notional. Like he's bringing up topics that Elon Musk is thinking about directly right now.
Mhm.
Because Elon Musk is thinking of rolling out into these smart cities, and he knows the bottleneck. If you can solve a problem, you have value, and if you have value, you're gonna get a ridiculous return.
Ahmed, it's time for you
You
to.
I never even prior to this. I wish you mentioned this earlier, but you're getting it candidly on the podcast. You're talking about the largest problem, and the size of the problem dictates the value that you're going to reap
Yes,
if you
hundred
invest
percent,
early.
100%.
If you invest early.
And man,
But
yeah.
I had
So yeah,
it just clicked right now. He's hiring people, putting his own money because he sees the problem
yeah.
as not
Because
something 10,
can you
15
also
that
imagine, like right now, even let's just talk about right now. If I'm just telling you this right now, whichever car company gets hacked first is gonna have huge problems because as soon as you're able to hack a car and somebody does some sort of act with that car, it is going to scare anybody from driving that car. Will you trust yourself on the back of a Waymo or a Tesla if that company consistently gets hacked? No, you would not.
let's bring up let's bring up why Ukraine is covered in a bunch of these fiber optic wires.
Yeah, because they need it for drones. Oh, that's the a better
Explain.
example. Ahmed, bravo,
Yes.
buddy. Guys, for them to use their drone warfare that Ukraine, because remember, Ukraine right now is developing the biggest drones, the best drones right now in the world, and they're using this to fight off a country that's several times bigger than it. And they're again, you can say they're losing, they say they're winning. They have lasted this war for so long because of their robotics, their
Did you?
little
I sent
drones.
you a link. I
Hmm?
sent you a link.
Yeah.
I keep. I sent you a link. Maybe live share your screen. Show them this picture. Show the viewer the picture so they get an understanding for how much this actually is playing out in reality. If you can, I could try. I could try, but I'm probably gonna disconnect the video. Would you like me to try?
Let's see.
You join the call. Just give me a second. As you talk, I will stay here.
Are you doing it right now or no? Hello? So, guys, we just lost Ahmed.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Are you able to find it?
Yeah. Can you see the live stream? I put it in the Discord.
Uh, can't. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. If you could just show the viewer
Yeah, they're seeing it.
all those fibers. Zoom in if you need to, or
No,
I
I,
could try my
I
own.
think we can tell. So, guys, this is what happens when you're in like a wartime situation and you need robotics. So now imagine what's gonna happen when you're not in a wartime situation and you're actually gonna have to have these robotics in other ways. Like obviously, this amount of cables will not be allowed because that's such a crazy fire hazard and stuff like that. So Ahmed, what's gonna happen, buddy? Like we told you, satellites, cellular services, all this stuff is going to go crazy rampant in the moment. And I'm telling you because remember, nobody's going to trust a car that you cannot sit in the back of and not expect to go on the other side of the road. It's not going to work out that way.
Okay, did you explain why the fibers are used these fiber optic in
Here,
warfare?
explain it, because you probably
So
explained it better than I did.
imagine you have a drone and it has like RCAT is developing these drones, and they use Wi-Fi signal to get information in and out and to direct it into an enemy the enemy lines, right? They're hackable. And so what they found out is
Anything
you
with the
cannot.
signal, anything with the signal, guys, hackable. Don't get it twisted.
They
Anything.
started they started to hack the enemy drones and use them against the people. It's horrible for someone trying to get an ROI on their investment of. And
Drones.
so what they developed is an unhackable way to connect this fiber optic, which is used in internet, the really fast
And it's
internet.
still
They
hackable if
use
you can get access to the cables. But the only way to do hacking cables
yes.
is getting access to the cables.
So they started to develop these very thin, as you could see in the picture that we showed you earlier, and that's why Ukraine is covered in all these wires. But the issues on the front line, the technology being developed in war, are going to be further magnified in the economy. An analogy for this is during the World War when nuclear energy was created. You know what I mean? Nuclear warheads, and now you have nuclear energy. And if you are constantly looking at history, recursively listening to Insider Outsider podcast, you're going to get an inside scoop of what's next. Can you rap?
All right, guys, we're gonna have to end the episode here. But man, this was a jaw-dropping episode of finance. I truly have to say, I'm gonna rewatch this episode. Ahmed. So, guys, Ahmed was so gracious and nice enough to say, "Hey, Ark, was your idea?" If you listen to this,
It wasn't.
and
It really
and
was like that.
and you got something from this, Ahmed knows what the hell he is talking about. We brought up, I give you, and guys, before this call, I truthfully am telling you this 100%. Me and Ahmed have not discussed this. I just thought of this yesterday about the cellular service. Okay, Ahmed successfully brought up the fact that we need security for these, and now that has just brought us to two different investments for the future: cybersecurity and cellular service. And again, if you do not like Ahmed, if you
What's the
guys
ticker for that? Is that
for which one?
Blair? The cybersecurity.
Give me one second. So one of them is Crowd. So CrowdStrike is CRWD, and then
Evidence.
Cloudflare is Net. But guys, just remember this. Ahmed has just, if anybody had any doubt, Ahmed's example at the end of just how optic cables are working in drone warfare just should show you that if we do not develop, that we need to invest in the companies that are going to develop the future of this satellite service, because this is not going to work otherwise.
I, I hate that that's an analogy simultaneously
I know
because
it sucks because it's war.
warfare is a negative context, but we managed to create the most innovative ways. You know what I mean? Like
100%. So, guys, the two investments that your boys Ahmed and Rav are telling you
CrowdStrike,
is Cloudflare.
CrowdStrike, and
Yeah, and well, these two are security. So it doesn't need to be exactly these two. Like we told you, we have no picks right now for the future, but we're
we
telling you
need
now
next tune into the next one,
exactly.
and
We're
we'll tell
gonna
you
we're gonna have
exactly
exactly what
why.
companies we're gonna invest in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the key, right? Like right now, this whole pod today has just showed us what we need to be looking for because we want to make money in the future and we want our investments to do well.
If you want a 20x, you better
You
subscribe.
better subscribe
If you
because
want a
then
20x,
yeah,
just like Oklo did, you better press the
yeah.
subscribe, bro.
Because just imagine it's just an imagine it's like if you could just imagine, guys, how much information those optic cables are carrying. And remember, we need it. That's not safe. It's not safe to have that many cables out in the open, not even close. But Ukraine is in desperate war times. How are you going to make this exact infrastructure but in the ground, in the air, through the air, whatever the hell you're going to do? But that's, guys, that's how we're going to invest for the future, guys. But thank you so much for tuning in. We will definitely chat
Last
with you.
last thing,
All right, Ahmed,
last
finished
thing.
up.
You subscribe. But within the context of today's geopolitics, the gun is no longer as important as it used to be. Obviously, drones and robots are going to take over. But
And
one
they
thing
said the
that
same thing.
happened,
They said the exact same thing when swords came and then guns came.
interesting, but like, yeah, the sword won't be as valuable.
As the gun,
The,
and now the gun is not as valuable as the next.
the evolution,
Yeah.
you were trying to front run, yeah, before it happens, you front run, you win. Yeah. So, what is of high value, right? During the Cold War, intelligence agencies were very important, and deception and narrative control are very important. And so, if you look at the nature that Wall Street behaves within the context of economics, it is very synonymous with warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And if you understand narrative, if you understand problems that they're going to be depicted to the public, AI, this is what I see, and this is how you're going to benefit. You're going to front run the masses, listen to exactly what you heard here. Do your due diligence, not financial advice. Find all of these security companies, and before the headline comes out, and on all the major news channels, before the narrative is created, before the weapon of choice, narrative control is the weapon of choice, because deception is all narrative based, right? Cold War tactics. If you understand warfare, you understand Wall Street, and if you could use that as a vector of change on how you behave and invest, it'll help you. And here's what I think. We're calling it out today, just like we called out China prior. Rav called out exactly what's going to go down. Rav's doing it again. And what you can do to benefit is invest in these companies before the narrative comes up. The narrative is going to say, "Oh, AI has taken over. Your rogue AI has taken over your bank account.
Yeah.
All these security threats. Oh, everyone's going to be, oh my god,
A
oh my god."
robot's gone into the bank and stole all the money out of the shit. That's gonna be insane.
Waymo is not going to be having a fight with the cops. Going to have a fight with the military next.
Yeah, they're gonna be rushing
And
through air bases. Huh?
yeah, it's like this little Mini Cooper like
Yeah, bro.
fighting
Just
the
fucking just
army.
wee 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 wee.
But what you're going to be able to do is before the narrative is even set in stone, you're in the front line, and you could benefit as an early adopter. You can benefit to a huge degree.
Yeah, guys.
20x, 20x is what he's yeah.
Guys, have a
Thank you
great
guys for
rest of your
watching.
day, guys. We'll definitely be talking to you guys soon. Bye bye.